And that's kind of true for the Tacoma. It did get a little bit bigger, but only by a tad little bit. It's 3 inches wider, 1 inch taller, and 4.5 inches longer, and it also weighs about 88 pounds heavier, which is impressive considering that it has a more rigid, fully boxed frame. It still feels quite big though. You are quite high up on the road. Even the SUVs look tiny when you're driving this. The hood is quite high, but it's not so big where you can't squeeze it through a normal garage door. This is built on the TGN-AF platform, and you no longer get the V6. What you do get now is a 2.4 liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder. You can either get that in the hybrid option or this non-hybrid option. It comes with 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque if you get the 8-speed auto. But if you have the 6-speed like the one we have today, you do get 8 horsepower less and about 7 pound-feet of torque less than the automatic. It's about the same horsepower as the last generation Tacoma, but you do get significantly more torque. And that torque also peaks much earlier at about 1700 RPM, so you can get that torque a lot sooner compared to the V6. I love that you can still get the manual transmission like the one we have today. I like how they listened to enthusiasts and they kept it as an option in the Tacoma. It is also a little bit cheaper than the automatic. Of course, there is the hybrid iForce Max engine with 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. Tacoma with that engine is definitely quick. You can also get the SR trim in the United States, which derates it by 50 horsepower and 74 pound-feet of torque, but I feel like most people will end up in this middle engine option. It's more than enough power for day-to-day use and merging on the freeway. You can get to 60 miles per hour in about 7.4 seconds. Let's turn on active rev match first, and let's give it a little send in second gear. It is wet, and I actually really like how it bounces off the RPM, and the turbo noise you get in this is insane. It sounds like a turbo diesel truck almost, and I like it. Toyota also offers the same exact 2.4 liter in their passenger car vehicles like the Grand Highlander, but it only shares about 50% of the parts with the passenger cars. That's because they wanted heavy duty parts for the Tacoma because it is a truck, so it goes through more extensive testing, and they want it to be a little bit more durable. So you do get upgraded parts in the Tacoma compared to the passenger vehicle version of the same engine. You do get a 3-inch inlet hose, the same in the Tundra 5.7 liter V8, the last generation, which is insane. You can also tow about 6,500 pounds, and this exact trim can tow about 6,400 pounds, and you do have a payload capacity of 1,700 pounds. There are a ton of different trims that you can choose from on the Tacoma, and this one right here is the TRD Sport. It is about 48 grand USD as equipped, or about 55 grand Canadian. What's special about this trim though are the TRD dampers. They're more tuned for on-road use, less so off-road use, unless you want to go for the TRD off-road version, which is slightly more expensive, and every trim gets different branded shock absorbers. On the TRD Sport trim and above, you do get a 5-link coil suspension system in the back. That saves a lot of space, and it's a much better system, unlike the leaf springs that you would normally get in the base trim SR5 and the SR. And you can't really get this in any of the competitors. You'd have to go for like a Ranger Raptor to even get the coil springs, which is much more unaffordable. The frame feels much more rigid. The motion feels like a truck, so it is still a body-on-frame vehicle. It's not as comfy as the Tundra, but it's much easier and more maneuverable to drive. Like, you can't be taking these turns like this in any bigger truck. This thing feels like a normal car almost. Downshift, second gear, come around this hairpin. You are in 2-wheel drive mode. It is very wet and plenty of traction. Not so bad. The steering feels much quicker and more direct than the last generation. You can take these corners with much more confidence. With the higher trims, you can get Bilsteins or Fox suspension systems, which will feel a little bit better and perform better off-road, especially with the ABS dampening system. It will feel much comfier, but those are far more expensive. This, however, for just under $50,000 is pretty decent. Actually, kind of impressive. You do get about 20 miles per gallon combined, which is about 12% better than the last generation. Not too bad given that this is the non-hybrid version, which would do even better. This thing just handles so much better than you'd expect it to. Tight corner, not too bad on body roll, and the engine's quite responsive. This actually handles really well, and dare I say, kind of fun. It's kind of cool that a truck like this can take corners like this. It's not no Miata, of course, but it's kind of entertaining and very well mannered. It's also quite comfortable, and I love this manual transmission. Let's put it into third gear. Again, turbo spool sounds great. Like any modern manual though, you do get quite a bit of rev hang, which is expected. It's an emissions thing. The good news is the shift throws are so long that by the time you get into the next gear and release the clutch, the hang has ended and the revs are starting to fall. It's far easier to drive around rather than like a sports car with a short shifter. You're never going to be shifting this thing that fast anyways, and it's smooth. Downshift, second gear, active rev match doing this thing, bouncing off the rev limiter. Yeah, this thing is pretty good. The clutch engagement point is a little bit higher than you'd expect, but it's very easy to drive, especially with the active rev match. You can get the 8-speed automatic, of course, which is much better than the last generation 6-speed auto. That transmission was quite sluggish and rough, and the 8-speed is just a huge improvement. Quick little acceleration test again, second gear. A little bit of wheel hop, not too bad. You do get your drive modes here as well. You do get an eco mode, normal mode, and a sport mode. Steering wheel feels a little bit heavier in sport. Sounds a little bit better too, I think. Not so bad for a truck. Enough on road though, let's take this thing off the tarmac. Of course, this wouldn't be a truck review without a little bit of off-roading. So we are on a little bit of a mild trail that would test this thing out. You do get a 2 high, a 4 high, and a 4 low option. We are in 4 high for this trail. It is a little bit rocky, and we are on some all-season tires, so don't expect anything too crazy out of this. You can get the Trail Hunter and the TRD Pro, of course. You do get all-terrain tires on those, so it is much more capable. And we do have the air diffuser up front, so that might scrape, but you can take it off if you did want to do some extra off-roading, but I don't think you need to do that for this trail. You don't get a 360 camera on this trim, although that would be quite useful because of how big and high the hood is in this car. But if you do get the TRD off-road version, you do get a 360 camera. You also get skid plates, off-road tires, a locking differential, and a couple more off-road features. You do get a bunch of like empty buttons here that don't do anything. They're for all the off-road features that you would get if you got a more off-road orientated Tacoma. I will say that the ride is actually very comfortable, even for a rough trail like this. It doesn't feel much harsher than a sports car on a regular Toronto road. It's actually quite comfy, and it's very compliant over these bumps. Ow, 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 ow. You do also get a no clutch start feature, which we'll demonstrate right now. Usually when you are on a steep hill like this and you need to get off and you can't move back at all, or you're going to roll off a cliff or hit some rocks, it's kind of hard to get off without rolling backwards a little bit. So this is generally what it would feel like, but with no clutch start. So basically you put the car in ignition mode, press on the brake, and hold the no clutch start. Put it into first gear, let go of the clutch, turn off the parking brake, and we can try starting it. Press and hold the engine switch. It uses the starter motor to get the car rolling, so you don't roll back at all in case you are on a pretty big obstacle and you can't roll back even a couple inches, or you're gonna run off a cliff or hit some rocks. You can use that feature, so it's pretty nice that that's there. It is recommended that you do it in 4 high and in first gear. Coil springs in the back are doing this thing. There's a little bit of a puddle in front of us, so we're gonna go right through that. did a good job. It's actually so comfy in here for this trail. But enough off-roading, let's check out the exterior and the interior. Inside and out, the new Tacoma looks like it has a heavy dose of tundra, which is a great thing. It looks really good. This color is called underground gray. It looks great. You do get your fog lights and you do get an air damper down here. You can remove it. It's just 9 screws down there, but it's for aerodynamics. But if you're going off-roading, you're probably not going to want it there. You do get two 65 R18 wheels. The tires and wheels look pretty nice. They're all seasons, but you can get them with off-road tires if you get the off-road version of this vehicle. TRD Sport logo. You get your coil springs back there, and you get a lighter aluminum tailgate. It's about 30% lighter than the previous generation. It is a fiberglass plastic composite still, same as the last gen, but it's a little bit more durable. You can get an air compressor, especially if you get the Trail Hunter, and you can get an optional outlet, 400 watts on the regular one, or 2.4 kilowatts if you get the iForce Max engine. You get your trailer hitch back here, and you do get a full-size spare tire in the back, as well as a single exhaust exit. This is the 5 feet configuration. You can get it in the 6 feet. Let's hop into the back and check out the rear. These seats do fold up, and there's a little bit of storage underneath here, unless you get the hybrid version, which there is no space. And you can also fold these seats down if you want a flat surface to put your things on. You get a massive JBL sub back here as well. And when you climb on in, there's actually quite a bit of space back here. No vents back here though. You can get optional USB ports and heated seats back here, but this isn't equipped with any of that, so you just get a dead dummy button. Headroom is pretty good. I think this is not too bad if you're under 6 foot tall. But if you do get the hybrid version, the seats will be a little bit higher, so you get a little less headroom. The interior of the Tacoma got a much needed upgrade. It looks way better than the last gen. I actually really like it a lot. It's very durable and rugged looking. You get massive buttons like your climate control. Every button's easy to press, especially if you have big gloves on. You do get your Tacoma logo right here, and you also have USB-C port on the side of this. You get 2 more USB-C ports back here, wireless charger, 2 cup holders here. You can actually fit 3 water bottles in the door bin. Not that much space back here, but you can fit a little bit of things back here. 2 more cup holders in the back, heated seats in this one, but you can get ventilated seats as well. This is equipped with the 8-inch standard touchscreen. You can go for the big 14-inch one, which doesn't cost all that much more, so I would go for the bigger screen. Although the system is good, pretty easy and quick to use. You do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, wireless of course. Pretty good system. You get a 12.3-inch digital cluster, and you can actually configure it quite a bit. You have a lot of menus and gauges that you can configure, like your off-road pages, and there are a bunch of different themes that you can go through, like the off-road one or the more simple and casual version. This isn't equipped with the heads-up display, although that is an option, and you do get a regular backup camera in this, although a 360 camera is available as well. Lots of cubbies throughout the car. You can fit quite a bit of things in here, up here. Glove box is fairly sized, and you do get a JBL speaker system in here, and you can also remove the speaker itself in case you just want a portable speaker. I think that's pretty neat. The seats also got much more comfortable. You'll notice that they fixed the seating position compared to the old Tacoma where you kind of sit on the ground. This feels a lot better. These fabric seats I actually really like a lot. They're super comfortable. You do also get a moonroof equipped on this version, and you can also open the back window, which is nice. It's not like a Tundra where it can go all the way down. You also do get your lane keep assist system and your adaptive cruise control, which actually works pretty well for a manual. It doesn't work at low speeds, but at high speeds it's great. Lane keep is good. You do get your blind spot monitor with rear cross traffic alert, and of course your forward collision system. Lots of physical buttons everywhere. Everything's super easy to use, and there's not really much to complain about. It's simple, and you're not really missing out on much. And you can get a ton of features that this exact model isn't equipped with, but for this price point, this is solid. The whole point of this truck is to be as user-friendly as possible. It's not about all the random and coolest gizmos that some other brands might offer and are so focused on. Who really gives a crap? The Tacoma really just set out to do exactly what it's supposed to do. It's improved in literally every single way, and I think it's a huge leap forward in the right direction. History has shown that the Tacoma has never needed to really be the best of anything to dominate the midsize truck market, but with the competition is only getting stronger, Toyota rightly decided to stop resting on its name plaque and build a truck that no longer makes any excuses or apologies. Out of its competitions, only the Toyota comes with the Tacoma reputation for its reliability and resale value. The team behind the Taco kept a healthy dose of the trucky character that makes us feel a little tougher and more rugged than the competition. It still gives the same vibe as the old Tacoma, but just better in every single way.